Welcome to Law and Life, the Levoritz Approach.
Hi everyone, welcome to Law and Life, the Levoritz Approach with attorney Yoni Levoritz. Yoni is the founder of Levoritz Law Firm and is recognized for his exceptional skill in family law, his compassionate manner, and his commitment to achieving favorable outcomes for his clients. I'm Sean O'Connor, and in today's episode, we're talking about New York's Attorney for the Child system and what parents should understand about how these attorneys are appointed, how they operate, and how their involvement can influence a case. Yoni, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Sean. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. First of all, what is the Attorney for the Child system in New York? And, in what types of cases does I guess they call it an AFC, Attorney for the Child, typically become involved?
Well, they typically become involved in contested custody matters. Therefore, when a judge is confronted with two litigants who have diametrically opposed positions, they typically want a third party who's more neutral to come into the system to basically offer their opinion. Now, that opinion differs based upon the age of the child. So, for example, I have cases with children as young as 2 years old who have AFCs, attorneys for children, right? In those cases, the attorneys basically substitute judgment on behalf of the child. So they're going to say whatever they feel is best for the child. Then you have cases where children are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're more verbal, and they have better answers, and they have more reasoning, and more logic to back up their reasoning. And then the attorneys typically go ahead and advocate based upon what the child wants, unless there's a danger to the child based upon what they want.
Got it. I'm just curious, an AFC versus a Guardian ad litem.
Well, Guardian ad litems basically come into play in cases where the child has disabilities, or severe disabilities, or where the adult has severe disabilities. Therefore, a guardian ad litem steps into the shoes of the litigants. The AFC is simply an advocate on behalf of a non-party to the action.
Good to know. So once an AFC is appointed, what authority do they have in terms of gathering information and forming a position about, what's in the child's best interests?
They have almost unfettered authority. They have the ability to go ahead and get HIPAA forms, Health Insurance Portability Act forms. And basically what those do is they allow them to get medical records, health records, psychiatric records, psychological records. They allow them to do all of these things. And the AFCs are given a lot of leeway in terms of what they can and cannot do. Other than abusing a child, they're free to do what they want. They meet with the child on their own. No one tells them how to do their job. They get insulted if you try and tell them how to do their job. They get insulted if you try and attack them. Therefore, if you do want to attack an AFC, as the saying goes, if you're going to shoot at the king, don't miss.
Wow. Okay. Well, pretty broad powers, as you said. So how does the AFC's role differ from, say, parents' attorneys, or from the court itself when evaluating, again, what may be best for the child?
Well, remember, everybody's role is different. Mom's attorney is there to advocate for mom. Dad's attorney is there to advocate for dad. Child's attorney is there to advocate for child. Court is there to determine the best interests of the child. Therefore, everybody can have diametrically opposed positions. It's up to the court to sort through these things and decide what is best for the child.
So in that process, an AFC meets with a child, has, a point of view. What aspects of the child's experience or environment tend to carry the most weight in shaping the AFC's perspective? What are they weighing on mostly?
That's a very subjective question because every AFC is different. Every AFC is going to look at different things. Some are going to look at abuse. Some are going to look at neglect. Some are going to look at how a child is doing in a particular household. Some are going to look at homework regimens. Some are going to look at bedtime rituals. Everybody's different. So it's a very subjective question and very difficult to answer because you have to play to your audience.
But in these situations, I know parents sometimes feel unsure about how much influence an AFC may have. So how does an AFC's position factor into the court's ultimate decision making?
It factors in a lot because courts go ahead and listen to these AFCs. Okay, which is why you're in a position where you have to play to the AFC and basically make the AFC your best friend.
And so I'm imagining conflicts arise, right? So when that happens, when an AFC's recommendations don't align with one or both parents' views, what usually drives those disagreements, and how do they get addressed in court?
They get addressed in court by trying to address the law of the matter and saying, Your Honor, I understand that the AFC is going ahead and making a recommendation or taking a position. Okay, and I understand that may be the wishes of a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, but we shouldn't let a 10-year-old drive this litigation. The litigation should be driven more by facts that are not at issue. Recordings, videos, police reports, convictions, things of that sort, rather than the wishes of a 10-year-old.
You're speaking about, information, documentation, the facts of the matter. Are there other forms of information or documentation that someone should have when responding to an AFC's recommendations?
Text messages, they're important. Or voicemails, they're important. Communications between the parties, they're important.
Yeah, text messages come up so often now since it's such a ubiquitous way of communicating.
Yes, it is.
So I know you can't share details given the sensitivity of these things, but is there a matter you've handled where the AFC's involvement significantly influenced the direction of the case? And, if so, what stood out for you?
Well, I mean, the AFCs always go ahead and dramatically influence the case.
Oh.
It's just a matter of whether it's for my client or against my client, but courts listen to the AFCs.
So parents who are navigating a case with an AFC, what should they take into consideration? Should they keep in mind about communication, expectations, and the role the AFC will play throughout the process? What's your, when you're advising parents, what do you recommend in terms of their approach?
Provide proof, be friendly, be nice, explain your position, don't hide things, don't lie about things.
Right. So our AFCs are interviewing the parents, I'm assuming.
Yes. In most cases, 99% of them, yes.
Right. And so, like any, I don't say interrogation, but some people may shade the truth or the reality in an effort to sway the case one way or the other, I'm guessing.
That is correct. That is their job. Their job is to advocate for themselves, advocate for the child, and try and win the AFC over.
It sounds like it could be combative.
It's extremely combative. And if you're the more persuasive parent with the more persuasive facts, you're more likely to prevail.
These laws, do they vary quite a bit processes, do they vary quite a bit from state to state? I know you're specializing in New York.
Yes, my focus is only New York because that's where I'm licensed.
Right.
As for other states, yes, they vary dramatically. Okay, so anyone listening to the video should understand that their state has their own rules and regulations, and they should be consulting with their attorney as to how to handle them.
Got it. Well, that's exactly why I brought it up, because I know we've got listeners from all over the states. So always good to have that reality check. Yoni, thanks a lot for this conversation. I look forward to picking it up again on a future episode.
Thank you very much for having me, Sean. I appreciate it.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on Law and Life, the Levoritz Approach. To contact Yoni or learn more about family law and such, visit his website, levoritzlaw.com. You'll get more insights on navigating divorce and family law in New York. And if you found this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe to the show, and even leave a review. That helps others find this important content. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.